Hello everybody, I'm Face, and in today's video I'm going to be going over some Loomians that you suggested should be buffed. If you don't know, yesterday on both Twitter and YouTube I asked you guys what are some Loomians you thought should be buffed, and of course I read through your responses and jotted down some common ground you all had. So yeah, I'm just going to go through those Loomians one by one, give my thoughts on how I would buff them. And yeah, so this should be a pretty good video. There should be no bad responses here, and yeah, it should be a great video. Oh, I'm gonna hate this, aren't I? Just kidding. I already picked out the things ahead of time. I'm just showing a bad response because, oh buddy, people like to watch the world burn, don't they? Anyway, without further ado, we got a list of Loomians here. These are all things y'all suggested should be buffed in some way, shape, or form. At least, you know, more common ground. So I'm just going to go through one by one and give my thoughts. So we got Avancess here. Some of the problems with Avancess, its attack stats very average. It's really frail, and coverage, while it has interesting coverage in air and electric, there's just a lot in the meta that just doesn't care. So how I would go about it, first off, I would give it a signature move, since it doesn't have one yet. Since it's a pilot, it's literally the pilot Loomian, and according to Lumipedia, it flies without making a sound. I thought it could use that whole pilot thing to, since it's more like an ace pilot, pinpoint accuracy, and it's more, and since it's silent, you could sneak, catch the opponent off guard, hit them really freaking hard, and bypass stat changes and abilities. That way, we're not worrying about Obsidian stockpiling resilience boosts on you, and something like Garbantis going to actually take damage from you, because we don't care about trash armor here. And yeah, that's what I would do there. On top of that, I would give it something like Bulk Up to help patch up that frailty, and also bolster that pretty average offense. That could be seen as really annoying, but I still see it as a overall win for Avancess. And then maybe give it Rough Up as a coverage option. It's weaker than Thunder Crash for sure, but it at least hits ice types and metal types alike. And yeah, there you go. That's basically how I would go about buffing Avancess. Now, obviously, I have to make a disclaimer here. I'm not a developer. I have absolutely no official influence over what things happen. These are just how I would handle buffing these things. Anyway, moving on. We got Skellig here. Alright, so Skellig, its problem is that it's 120,000% outclassed by Garlash offensively. And, well, to circumvent that, or to help it out in that regard, the obvious answer is to give it Dragon Dance. I mean, it boosts speed and attack. Both stats are pretty average. And then another thing I would do, since its coverage is actually pretty decent, you got Water Dark. Why does everything have Water Dark? Stop giving Water Dark. Water Dark is so good offensively. You know, you got Water Dark Ancient, and then you could run Dragon Dance on top of that. I'd also, not a direct buff to it, but I would also distribute Gust to more things like Valkyrie and whatnot, and then also make Gust lower a stat. So things like Stratosaur, when they're trying to remove hazards, they don't get to remove them scot-free, so that you can get your combative boost, and now you're an immediate offensive threat, and that way, boom, you got yourself a useful Skellig. Boom, fixed your Skellig. Moving on, Hagrid was one that was commonly talked about. Main problem with Hagrid, there's not much to it that needs changed. It's got pretty good coverage in fire, toxic dark. I mean, that's pretty good. Obviously, it could use something like Raging Tackle for more recoil-based moves for its Madcap, and obviously, Flare Blitz down the line would be cool. But something I would do, I mean, just give it something like Bulk Up or Brawn Boost. Just better setup overall. Also, this is not an actual set. As you can see, it's an indifferent thing. It's not rallied. Anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would do with it. Anyway, fixed your Loomian. Moving on. Florent. Now, Florent's a bit of a tricky one because Bug Ice is not great defensively. So What I would do, one, give it hard recovery. Like, I get it's supposed to be draining stuff, but, you know, give it some hard recovery. And, two, maybe, like, I don't know, change one of its abilities potentially into something like Thick Fat, like, I guess, because, like, that defensive typing needs some work. Or you could give it something like a signature move. What I thought of is, like, a move like, if you've heard of Ring Out from Pokemon, it's a move that has power based off of the opponent's HP. If it's at max HP, it's at max power, and 150 power at that. Or is Ring Out 120? I can't remember. But the concept is 150 power at max HP, but it also drains HP. So even though you have a Florent with low attack stats, 150 power is nothing to scoff at. And then, of course, on top of drainage, you're getting a lot of HP back. So that's one initial way to, like, chunk something and also keep yourself healthy. That's just something I came up with, and could be a neat signature for Florent there. I couldn't say fixed your Loomian because Bug Ice is a very, very oof typing, especially with Icicle Trap. But there you go. Okay, so now we got Cinnamoth. What I would do here, make its secret ability, finally give it hazard immunity, so it doesn't have to worry about Icicle Trap. And then for its signature move, since stuff seems to be getting signatures, just give it a nerfed Quiver Dance. A nerfed Quiver Dance. I know Lando doesn't like Quiver Dance because 3 stats, so just remove the range defense and boom! We got ourselves a functional Loomian, don't you think? Boom, fixed your Loomian. Now we got Umbret here. Umbret, I'm gonna be real with you. Unless we, like, completely revamp its stats, it's not going to get that much better. But what we can do, give it Bulk Up and Brawn Boost, and I did say and because we want options. If we want to run a bulkier Umbret, we want Bulk Up. And if we just want to run pure offense power, run Brawn Boost. And on top of that, something like Chili Chomp. Hit them bugs. There you go. Fixed your Loomian. Terrafly here. Another thing of low stats and being outclassed. What I would do with Terrafly, 100% give it like Thunder Chop or Thunder Slam. Screw Stratosaur. Let's kill it. Kill it. Drive it into the ground. Die. And not only that, I would also update its or buff its secret ability so that Bug Fever actually gives +2 attack when you knock something out. It's like +1 off of a bug move just isn't worth it, because bug offensively, if you're using it purely offensively, bug just isn't that great. I mean, there's a lot of common resistances, and it should be more rewarding when you get a knockout with a bug type move. And +2 attack would be cool. Obviously, stronger Toxic Stab would be great, but I feel like that's just going to happen naturally over time. And so, yeah, just, Bug Fever +2, and then give it something like Thunder Chomp or Thunder Slam, so you could say, screw you, Stratosaur. And, yeah, boom, fixed your Loomian. Now, these three are pretty much, these three are cool. Anyway, Wakalaka. I don't actually have a PvP Wakalaka, fun fact, because it just sucks that badly. What I would do here, and this change is actually something someone else named Reggie suggested. He suggested a Mind-type Gyro Ball move. If you don't know what Gyro Ball is from Pokemon, it's a move that's power is based off of both of your speed stats. Depends on if you're this much slower than the opponent, you get more power. And, well, just give that to Wakalaka as a Mind-type move, and boom. That's great. Now, I'd also adjust its stats so that it could better abuse this, because if it's a copy-paste version of Gyro Ball, the opponent needs to be roughly 6 times faster than you for it to be max power, which is like, jeez. And, be real, Wakalaka, even with sluggish 0 speed, can't hit even Zulong for max power. So I would drop its speed a little bit and then compensate with the, bring up its melee defense stat to make up for that low bulk. That's what I would do. And it wouldn't like entirely fix the fact that Wakalaka has like a garbage defensive typing, but on Bane of Haste, if you can set it up, get it in, it's actually committing some big nukes, because that's, yeah, fixed your Loomian. Gasstroke. Everybody complains. Also, don't ever use a very robust Gasstroke. This was as you can see, this was March 19th of 2020. No. Anyway, moving on. Gasstroke. A Loomian, lots of people want buffed because it's just, look at this. I'm not going to touch its melee defense stat. I'm going to make it work with what it's got. And here, stat-wise, I feel like its stats are fine. What I would do, personally, is, 1, buff Fungus Curse for heck's sake. I know it's going to happen eventually, but buff it so it works like Bane of Haste. 2, giving us an extender for it so that, so Gasstroke can hold it. 3, give it to Gasstroke. And now, what is that? Okay, that's just a ladybug for some reason. Anyway, now with Fungus Cursed, a buffed variant of it, you become, if something tries to swap into you with a dark move, you're now immune to dark. And since most light type moves are range based, even super effective, if you're very clever, they're not going to do that much to you. And so with that, I would also give it a new pivot move. I actually, theory crafted one myself. More, focusing on the fact that slugs like to burrow underground and use that to like hide and retreat. And I would use that as a grounds to give it a pivot move, so that we could set it up. We could set up the Fungus Curse, and then we could pivot out into something that wants to abuse it. This is my segue into this little guy. Boom, anyway, but yeah, that would, help try and address this whole this 35 melee defense, because its main issue is it's weak to dark with this 35 melee defense. So that makes it weak to chase down, and with Fungus Curse it wouldn't become weak to chase down. And then you could just pivot out and get in this guy that can't touch a plant type to save its soul. And, with a Fungus Curse active, if it were turn-based like Bane of Haste, now we've got the highest damage dealing light type. It beats out even Valkyrie before it sets up with its damage. And, now nothing's immune to you. Now nothing's immune to you unless they have an ability, and now only light types hardwall you, but that's with a resist rather than immunity, so they can be chipped. And I'd also just give it magnified because yes, and yeah. And then obviously coverage, because like who wants to be walled by a plant type outside of Fungus Curse? So like, Fire Breath. Fire Breath should happen eventually, but it can't happen by Rally, because any Rally move Luxor gets, Umbrat and Eclipse also get. So if Fire Breath Luxor happened, then Fire Breath Eclipse would also happen. And we know how much we love buffing Eclipse, and nobody would ever want to buff Eclipse. God bless! Why are you people like this? Why are you people like this? Ugh. Anyway, so that's all the things that I agreed should be buffed, and then these guys were also addressed, and these guys could just use, will probably get buffed just by the direction of the game. So Mocho is very likely to get a ranged brawler move with the next level cap. That's what Jamie said. It's not confirmed, but it's very likely. So that will immediately make this like a bajillion times better. So there you go. Fixed your Loomian, I guess. Bork, it's being outclassed as a wall breaker nowadays. It used to be a menace, but now we've got better options. And maybe he gets Braum boost one day. Maybe. It doesn't need more coverage, I'm gonna be real. Somebody said Thunder Chomp Borok, and I was like, ew, no. It doesn't need more coverage. Potentially just setup, you know, Brawn boost. And there, now it's an even better wall breaker. And Joltooth, while I want it to be buffed, it technically does not need to be buffed. But the main issue with Joltooth is it's slow and it's frail. And that's never a good combination. It just never is. But it's really strong, especially with ambush doubling power when they swap out. So technically, if you played your Joltooth absolutely perfectly, then it is a very good Loomian. However, playing something absolutely perfectly all the time is just not feasible. Which means most of the time, your Joltooth sucks. Because it's slow and it's frail, and the second you mess up a single play, you are like either dead or extremely low on HP. And since you're also slow, that means you're not outspeeding a lot either. So I would personally want it buffed. It technically doesn't need it, but I would take a little bit out of its range attack. Maybe, you know, take it from base 76 to base 50. And then distribute into its defenses, either equally or make one more pronounced than the other. And give it Clay Slap, because screw Mud Spatter. Anyway, it technically doesn't need it, but that's how I would do it because it's my favorite Loomian, obviously. So there's a bit of bias there. Also, people ask for Dusket to get buffed, but it's also Mean Spirit's getting buffed to 50% at some point, so there you go. There you go. And then Seer Knight was also a popular request. And, well, Seer Knight, it's just a victim of the meta more so than just being bad. So, buffs-wise, it really doesn't need much. But with the next level cap update, it's getting, and I don't know when that is before anybody asks. It'll happen eventually, but just saying when it happens, it'll get the move Armor down, and if you don't know what that is, it is a move that will double your speed, you know, give you +2, and it'll drop your metal typing. So you'll get an arguably better defensive typing, and you will get +2 speed. And so there you go. And then maybe someday it'll also get, you know, offensive setup like bulk up or Brawn boost. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, That's pretty much how I would buff Loomians you feel should get buffed. So if you like this video, make sure you leave a like because it supports the channel. The more people that like it, the more people that see it. And if you're interested in this kind of content, make sure you subscribe and have notification bells turned on so that you're notified when I do upload more content. And of course, I need to know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with my buffs? If not, how would you buff these things? And so yeah, again, leave them down in the comments below. And yeah. Hopefully y'all enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in another video. See ya.